Imagine a silent, invisible assassin lurking in your home, one that could steal your memories, ravage your organs, and even drive you to madness, all while you remain completely oblivious to its presence. What if I told you this isn't some chilling horror movie premise, but a very real threat that for decades was not only ignored but actively suppressed by the very institutions meant to protect us? This isn't just a story about a hidden danger. It's a terrifying tale of corporate negligence, scientific denial, and the horrifying consequences when the truth is buried, leaving countless victims in its wake. But to truly understand the sinister nature of the invisible killer, we need to rewind, going back far beyond the 20th century to a time when its lethality was hinted at, but never fully grasped. For thousands of years, humanity harbored a dangerous fascination with lead. The Romans used it for pipes, cookware, and even as a sweetener for their wine, oblivious to the creeping paralysis and mental decay it caused. Alchemists revered it for its malleability. Painters adored its vibrant pigments, and eventually, the Industrial Revolution catapulted it into nearly every aspect of daily life. From gasoline additives making cars run smoother to the very paint adorning our homes, lead became a ubiquitous symbol of modernity and progress. It was cheap, durable, and seemingly indispensable. Everyone used it, everyone trusted it, and almost no one connected the dots between this miracle metal and the baffling array of ailments that seemed to plague the population, particularly the most vulnerable among us. The symptoms were insidious, mimicking other diseases, making diagnosis a nightmare. Headaches, fatigue, irritability, abdominal pain, and in severe cases, seizures, coma, and death. Doctors would chase these symptoms down rabbit holes, attributing them to everything but the innocuous substance found in nearly every household object. This widespread ignorance, fueled by convenience and economic interest, laid the foundation for one of the greatest public health disasters in human history, a disaster that continues to echo through generations. Yet, even amidst this widespread ignorance, whispers of lead's toxicity began to emerge. As early as the 17th century, a German chemist, Eberhard Gockel, detailed a mass poisoning in Germany caused by lead in a faulty wine press. Benjamin Franklin himself, in a letter dating back to 1786, observed a connection between lead exposure and various debilitating illnesses, noting its particular danger to workers in industries using the metal. He even recounted a case where lead poisoning led to stools black as tar and difficulty walking. But these were isolated observations, largely dismissed or forgotten amidst the intoxicating march of progress. The early 20th century saw the widespread adoption of leaded gasoline and lead-based paint, sealing its place in virtually every home and every car on the planet. By the 1920s, a veritable storm of scientific data began to accumulate, detailing the horrific effects of lead exposure, especially on children. Studies out of Australia documented cases of children chewing on lead paint chips, developing neurological damage, blindness, and even dying. In the United States, researchers at Johns Hopkins began sounding the alarm, meticulously documenting cases of children suffering from lead encephalopathy, a severe form of brain damage after ingesting lead paint. They presented their findings, pleaded for action, but their warnings were met with a wall of indifference, if not outright hostility, from powerful industries that profited immensely from lead's continued use. The lead industry, colossal and influential, ran highly effective public relations campaigns, actively downplaying the risks, funding biased research, and discrediting dissenting voices. They promoted lead as safe, even essential, portraying any concern as mere hysteria. They poured money into lobbying, influencing government policies, and ensuring that regulations remained lax or non-existent. A chilling memo from a lead industry consultant in 1928, unearthed decades later, advised, "Keep the medical profession ignorant." And for far too long, they succeeded. The industry's strategy was simple: deny, discredit, delay. And in doing so, they condemned an entire generation, perhaps several, to preventable suffering. What they discovered next, or rather, what was repeatedly rediscovered and then suppressed, changed everything once a dedicated few refused to be silenced. Enter Dr. Herbert Needleman, a pediatrician and pioneering environmental health researcher, a man who would become Lead's most formidable adversary. In an era where the prevailing medical view still only recognized high-level, acute lead poisoning as a threat, Needleman suspected a far more insidious danger from low-level exposure. He saw children in impoverished neighborhoods struggling in school, exhibiting behavioral problems and displaying a perplexing range of developmental delays. He hypothesized that these issues might stem from the lead dust and paint chips common in their deteriorating homes. Traditional methods of measuring lead exposure were often crude, relying on blood tests that only showed recent exposure. Needleman innovated, developing a technique to measure lead levels in children's shed, deciduous teeth. These baby teeth acted as a historical record, revealing cumulative lead exposure over years. His groundbreaking studies, published in the late 1970s and early 1980s, unequivocally linked even low levels of lead in children's teeth to decreased IQ, attention deficits, and aggressive behavior. His findings were a seismic shock, directly contradicting decades of industry-sponsored research and the complacent regulatory environment. The lead industry's response was swift and brutal. They launched a targeted campaign to discredit Needleman, accusing him of scientific misconduct, manipulating data, and even bringing charges against him before his university. They employed their well-worn playbook of denial and character assassination. Needleman, however, fought back with unwavering resolve, his work ultimately vindicated by subsequent, independent analyses and a growing chorus of public health advocates. His research provided the irrefutable evidence needed to push for policy changes that would fundamentally alter lead's trajectory in America, leading to the phasing out of leaded gasoline and the ban on lead-based paint in residential use. But the damage, decades in the making, was already done. Yet, the story of the invisible killer doesn't end with Dr. Needleman's triumph. The legacy of lead lingers like a toxic ghost across generations. Today, we understand that there is no safe level of lead exposure. Even minute quantities can cause irreversible neurological damage, kidney disease, cardiovascular problems, and reproductive issues. Communities, particularly those in older, low-income areas, still battle the residuals of lead paint in homes and lead pipes in water systems. Cities like Flint, Michigan, became a tragic national symbol of this persistent threat, reminding us that the fight is far from over. Moreover, intriguing and unsettling research continues to emerge, suggesting that the widespread lead exposure of the 20th century may have contributed to everything from increased crime rates to a general lowering of cognitive function across entire populations. The brain, once poisoned, does not fully recover, leaving a permanent scar on individuals and potentially on the collective psyche of societies. The cost, both human and economic, is immeasurable. The story of lead is a stark reminder of the immense power of corporate influence to obscure scientific truth and the catastrophic consequences when profits are prioritized over public health. It's also a powerful testament to the tireless dedication of researchers and advocates who, against overwhelming odds, fought to expose the silent assassin hiding in plain sight. They pulled back the curtain on the invisible killer, but its shadow, though diminished, still haunts us, a silent testament to a history we must never forget. If you want more bone-chilling stories of hidden dangers and suppressed truths, the next video explores the chilling reality of industrial-grade synthetic chemicals silently invading our bodies and threatening our future.